This is the complete guide to productive trees. That's right, I said trees, not bees. You will need a small base understanding in productive bees if you do want to do productive trees. However, check out my channel for the playlist on that if you do need it. So with productive trees, we can actually breed trees into loads of different tree breeds. So if I put in here productive tree, you can see there's 43 pages in JEI. And if I put in sapling, you can see there's all of these saplings that we can get, which is absolutely magnificent. JEI is your friend here. If I look at, say, the rose gum sapling, you can see that to make the rose gum, not the best example, here's a better one. To make the white beam sapling, you can see that it says configurations 1 by 1. That does mean that some trees may be needing a 2 by 2, etc. Like this, let's say. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Some trees will grow like this, and you must put 4 saplings down if it's a 2 by 2 configuration, etc., etc. But that's what that means when you see it. Using the same example, what we can see here is that we can breed an ash sapling with a birch sapling, and that will get us a white beam sapling. So how do we actually breed the trees together? Well, you will need bees. Bees with a B, not trees with a T. So assuming you know how to use productive bees, basically your bees, you may know, go out and pollinate flowers. But when we have 2 trees near each other, they can actually also pollinate the trees. One really helpful upgrade from productive trees that you can put into your productive bees hive is the upgrade pollen sieve. Let me just find one that has an example. Here we go. So with the pollen sieve upgrade, and FYI, you can only need, you can put like a pollen sieve upgrade in each slot. Like you could put one in here, one in here, one in here, one in here, but having more than one will not have an increased effect in pollen. You only need one in here as a maximum. And this means that sometimes the bees will actually bring back pollen into the hive. And in my opinion, this makes it a lot easier. The pollen sieve upgrade needs a blank upgrade from productive bees, some glass bottles and some saplings, etc. And I really would recommend putting them into your hives. You can also add range upgrades from productive bees, meaning that your bees will go and pollinate further afield for nearby trees. Another thing you can do with the pollen that you get by using this upgrade in your beehive is you can actually right-click your bees with it. So let's take this bee here. I can right-click the bee and convert it into an allergy bee. The allergy bee, let's look at it in JEI, is actually the best bee for pollination. When we press U for uses in JEI, or R, you can see here bee conversion, pollen, feed it to a normal bee, and it will turn it into an allergy bee. Uses, bee flowering, it's actually going to pollinate leaves rather than flowers. Now, to be very clear here, the normal bees, when they fly over the trees, etc., they can pollinate the leaves. But the allergy bees will directly fly to the trees and directly pollinate them, meaning you get a much higher chance of pollination when using these allergy bees. So these bees are flying around pollinating, but what you'll see with the allergy bee here is it's actually going straight to the leaf and directly pollinating it, rather than you just hoping that the bee sort of flies near the tree and pollinates it. I hope that makes sense in what I'm saying there. Basically, you don't need an allergy bee, but it helps. That's the TLDR. Now, one thing that is unfortunate, it does say in the guidebook you can use a spyglass to see which leaves have been pollinated. In my opinion, it doesn't really help. So what you wouldn't necessarily know here, can you see that, to be honest, I can barely see it, so I don't know if you will be able to. Oh my goodness gracious, look at that. Pollinated leaves. Can you see here that this says birch leaf, and it's quite dark, whereas this says pollinated leaf, and it's a slightly different colour. Now, here's a trick that you can use. If I go to options, video settings, and general, quality, leaves, put it to fast, and apply. When you put your leaves to fast, look how obvious that is now that has been pollinated. So I'm going to show you how to breed them in a second. This is a very quick tutorial. The pollen that you get in your beehives, I'm going to show you why it makes it so much easier to use the pollen sieve upgrade. So I can take the pollen, and it says here oak leaves. I can take that pollen out of the hive. Now, I don't want to pollinate the oak because that is an oak. What I want to do is pollinate the birch. And what I'm doing here is I'm breeding the oak pollen with the birch tree. So I just right-click it, and as you can see, it's so obvious. So I've right-clicked the oak pollen on the birch tree. Then, when I break it with my hand, I get a different sapling, which happens to be a beech sapling. You can see here you can do a 1x1 or a 2x2. So I have just crossed, and if we look at a beech sapling, as you can see, oak and birch makes beech. So again, if I get an oak pollen from the hive and just force pollinate it and then break it, I get the same one again. Now you can also get a silver lime from birch and oak. For example, here is a silver lime. That works well, doesn't it? So sometimes if you're not getting the one you want, then it may just be luck and you need to keep cross-pollinating the same trees. Again, these will happen passively, like this one here, cross-pollinated on its own via the bees. But as you can see, it's much easier to just add the pollen sieve upgrade and pull out the pollen that is collecting in here from local trees and just take it and right-click it on the tree that you want to breed it with. It's much, much easier. That is pretty much the main part of the mod. There is a book called The Big Book of Trees, which you can use some sawdust with a book to make. Sawdust is made in a sawmill. So there is a few little machines that we get from productive trees. We have a carpentry bench. We have a stripper. Oh, good lord, a stripper. There's a time traveller display. What the hell is that? I think this is from a tree, a time travelling tree. I'm not sure about that. A stripper, a carpentry bench, and a sawmill. 1, 2, 3. The sawmill, as you can see, you put in your wood, and it gives you some planks and some sawdust. Sawdust we can turn into lots of different things, depending on the mods and recipes that you have in your game. And depending on, obviously, the mod pack you're playing on. This is in ATM 10, so the recipes are done for that. The stripper does need an axe in the slot, in the bottom slot. In here, you put an axe in here, you put the wood in. It's quite simple what it does. It just strips the wood to stripped dark oak and, stripped versions, etc. The carpentry bench, I don't think does anything yet. And they did put in the guidebook that this mod isn't fully developed yet. So maybe when you're watching this video in a year's time, it might have actually been done. And as you can see, there's loads of different stairs, etc. you can get from all the different trees. There is a few trees that you can get only in specific locations as well. The brown amber sapling you can find in suspicious sand and gravel inside cold ocean ruins. The flickering sun sapling can be found in chests in desert pyramids. The blue yonder can be found in chests inside shipwrecks. The firecracker is chests inside ancient cities. Soul trees are in end cities. Black embers are in bastions. Rippling willow is that's actually I see. So you can then breed all of these trees up, but these 5 or 6 you have to find, as I just told you. The rest of them are all breedable, pretty much, and you can see in ATM 10 they've got a lovely tree here if you're playing this mod pack of all the tree breeding. But don't worry if not. If you're on just your own mod pack or anything, you can just click anywhere in JEI like here, and then press R on the saplings, and it will tell you how to make them. So let's say I wanted to make a citron sapling, and you go, okay, silver lime, how do I get a silver lime? You then press R on the silver lime, and it goes back to oak and birch. And eventually, it will just go all the way back to the vanilla trees, or the ones that you can find, so that you'll always be able to work it back. And that's basically how you do it. It's a really cool system. If you've ever played forestry in the past, it's similar to how that works, but a more modern version. And easier, actually, and simpler. It does also add in a few extra things from other mods, like saps, like maple sap, etc., which you can add from the tree tap mod. So separate mod, but just FYI, that is in there too. They say that you can They say that you can use a spyglass to better spot which leaves have been pollinated. Personally, oh wow, look at that. Personally, I think that's a load of rubbish. It doesn't really do anything for me, but yeah. Great mod though. I love farming mods and things like that. And there you go, guys. That is the complete guide to productive trees. If you do need any help with bees, then check out my productive bees tutorial. And of course, if you found the tutorial useful, check out my playlists here. I have a tech mods shelf, magic mods, including productive bees, and then utility and standalone mods where they don't fit into a playlist and it's just one video for the entire mod, like the one you are watching. And you can just press search here if you're looking for a specific mod. If you can't find the mod on my channel, please just comment down below. I love taking requests from the community. I am also now streaming from our Patreon server. If you would like to support the channel, you can do via Patreon. It massively helps out the production on this channel. I'm only able to get these videos out so fast by having sort of a team behind me to help me. And that really, really helps support all of that if you would consider joining Patreon, which we now offer a Patreon server for you guys to play on with me as well. And if you'd like your own server, you can now get 10% off with my link in the description from G Portal.